Welcome to the Value Podcast, where valuable people attract people of value. I am Jamel Jackson, your relationship mechanic. I focus on preparing, evaluating, and giving you the tools you need to maintain healthy relationships. That's right. Tools you need to maintain healthy relationships. I had to hunt this guy down to get him on here. I'm serious. He's not going to say that I did, but I did. He was in the lost and found of Americas.
My phone works in all countries.
Yeah, but...
all of them.
See, the thing is that I contacted him, but he didn't say, hey, let's do the podcast.
No, you contacted... I got receipts, man.
No, don't pull your phone out.
I got receipts.
Not on the episode. Not on the episode.
I got receipts.
Not on the episode. Let's talk briefly about this, about them getting on my hair this morning.
Here's what I found.
See, series, what you talking about? I'm wearing a hat because actually this hat is one of our sponsors. Defy the Odds, the brand. Shout out Defy the Odds. So that's why I'm wearing a hat.
Okay.
Yeah, I get my hair cut. I know what it is.
I apologize.
Yeah, can you quiet that, please? See what I'm saying?
Apologize. You know,
I know what it
business
is.
doesn't sleep.
I know what it is.
The work keeps working.
I know what it is.
What's
9
that?
times out of 10, your hair is looking very smooth.
Okay.
That's probably why you wanted to say something about my hair.
No, it's just long.
No, your joint
When it gets
looks,
long,
it
it
looks
does what it
well
wants to do
groomed right now. Like you got
I need
some,
a haircut myself.
What do you have in your hair?
Juices and berries.
No, seriously.
Oil.
It looks very
water.
Nah, your hair looks,
I got a little gel in it because to
that
keep
joint
it
that joint is wavy.
keep it defined. But other than that,
I kind of like it.
yeah, that's me.
Yeah, the grays is popping. What's going on, beautiful people? I'm sorry I had to interrupt your value time, but people have been asking me, Jamel, how do I support the Value Podcast? I want to show some love. Well, you can go to VPAPOV.com. That's VPAPOV.com and grab yourself some value gear. And for those that have been watching and they say, man, I like this wisdom, I like the conversations that's taking place, how can I work with you one-on-one? You can go to JamelDJackson.com. That's JamelDJackson.com. Click the link, head to the website. Let's work together. I want to see you have the best, amazing, healthy relationships in your life. Back to the podcast.
Oh
my God.
But I never really had a nickname. That just kind of my mother called me Terry, but that was all family. It was never really a street thing. So one day she just started calling me Gray, and I was like, I like it for a lot of other reasons, but I like it, and I was like, that's dope. And so I told one of my friends who I've known, he was with us on New Year's. I've known him 30 years. I was like, yo, man, Gabby just started calling me Gray out the blue. And he goes, first thing he said, I swear to God, how did we miss that?
Wow.
Like you've had gray hair for as long as I can remember. I was like, yeah.
Oh, so your gray hair started when you were younger.
Like I was 16 with salt and pepper.
Wow.
It wasn't like this, but it was noticeable.
It runs in my family too, because when it runs in especially my grandfather's side. Like when me, my cousins, my uncle, we were younger. I think mine, it was like I was like 20, and it wasn't like of course it wasn't a head full of gray hair, but it was
enough that you could see the silver specks in the black hair. I was like, yeah, all of that. So he was like, how did we miss that? I was like, bro, I don't know, but I like it. It's sticking.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be out with her and people, what up, Gray? I'm like, oh, okay.
So that's what I'm about to start calling you, Gray.
I let it stick.
Start calling you Gray. So with all that gray hair, though, you must got some wisdom. Because we're about to go down this.
Or some stress. We don't know which one it is. We're going to find out today.
I know there's a lot of things that you are and who you are. So, I mean, just let the people know, you know what I mean? Who is Terrence Brown?
Well, I'm a serial entrepreneur. But I started with the wrong thing. I'm a man of faith. Father, brother, friend, serial entrepreneur, certified life coach. I have a master's degree in metaphysical science and a PhD in holistic coaching.
All right, talk to the mic, because I mean, what
was I covered?
No, you still good, but I mean,
me.
you dropping some. Hold on, say the master's again. Metaphysical
science.
Okay, you got a PhD too, right?
Yeah, the PhD in holistic coaching. holistic life coaching.
Yeah. See, and I'm glad you said that, because there's a lot of people that watch the podcast and they may not know of some of the people I'm having on this, but the people I have on here are very valuable. And they may be like, well, who's that guy? What's his credentials? And does he have the right?
Yeah, I mean,
most of the people that
is the case.
Some people, let me say some, because that most is very broad. Some people that deem themselves as these coaches or these gurus or whatever, some of them don't have the credentials. And I'm not saying that you have to have those credentials.
You don't have to have them, but no. I felt like when I got interested in it, I was coaching for a lot of years before I went through, got the education for it. Yeah. And my ex-wife actually is part of the reason why I went back to school
for the master's
for coaching.
For coaching,
I went and got certified as a coach. She's a professional counselor, and she used to be like, "You don't know what the hell you're doing." Mm-hmm. Like, I went to school for a lot of years to get this counseling thing down, and you out here coaching and counseling people, and you don't know what you're doing. And I'm like, well, I'm letting the spirit move me. And she's like, the spirit? Like, her education was like, nah, I've been to Berkeley, I've been to NYU, I've been you gonna come at me talking about the spirit? It's been working. No. So I went and took the classes to get certified, and I learned that I was doing it completely wrong.
Well, I mean, how long did you have to go?
It was 12 weeks.
Okay, because I went through a certification course. It was about a week and a half.
Yeah, it was 12 weeks with Coach Training Alliance, and they're International Coach Federation accredited, whatever. And they were very specific in the training, and they were like, and the more I learned, the more I realized I've been doing it wrong for years.
Wow.
Because I would get into the environment and treat a coach like an actual team coach, like I'm coaching this team, and I'm bringing the playbook to the session. I'm telling you, this is what you need to be doing. Mm-hmm. You're not buying in.
Hold on. So when you were coaching, you didn't have any material to back it up, or you were just coming up with your own material?
I coming up with my own material, my own stuff I read, all of that. But it was really by the seat of my pants, gunslinger type coaching. And I'm telling them, this is what you're supposed to do. And they like, oh, that sounds good. But I'm not giving them any of the skill set, any of the mindset, any of that to go and implement this plan I've laid out for their business or their life or whatever. I'm just telling people what to do.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that's why it hasn't been working for everybody, because they're not buying in. They're not bought in. So when you're not bought in, you're not gonna take the steps. You're not gonna do the work. You're not gonna do any of that. So I'm like, okay, so I had to learn how to create a co-creative relationship, which is basically like a bowl, or in the Bible they would consider it a vessel, and we got to pour into it together. But mostly it's got to come from you. You're the client. Like, you got to really be bought into what it is. You have all of the answers to all of the problems in your life. You have the answers inside your head. They're in you. Well, whether they come from God or that connection there, or just your experience and what you've done, the answers are typically inside you. I just have to pull them out.
So the level of success that you're at right now, what pushed you? What are you? Of course, you said that your ex-wife had encouraged you to go back to school.
Yeah, I've always been motivated by the women in my life. I don't know why.
I mean, women are impeccable motivators.
No, but the thing about it is, it's never been like, baby, you can do it. It's always been like, you can't do that. Oh, I can't. Oh, watch me. I've always been. I don't think
I had that type of motivation from women.
It's always been that way for me. Like, my mother used to be, you and your father out here starting a business. Y'all ain't gonna be nothing. Your father ain't never been hit. I'm like, oh wow, okay, well, watch this. And then we had a successful run about 7 years straight out of high school working with my father.
Well, maybe people didn't say it to me. They probably showed it, and I picked it up and was like, okay, now I got it.
Because most times people won't say it to your face. That I will say honestly. The people,
or here's an example. Like, I'm starting my doctor's degree in next January.
Okay.
Doctors of Social Science and Prevention Science. Mm-hmm. Now, I have mentioned it to some people, and they go, "You gonna be a doctor?"
Right.
That right there is probably
and that's that. Yes.
I'm gonna do it either way. I'm gonna do it either way. But that right there is like, oh, you You don't think this bro can be a doctor?
Thank you for the nudge. I take it every time. My mother was my biggest motivator until she passed away. Every time I said I wanted to do something, she told me I couldn't do it. Not because she didn't love me. She just didn't see past her own limitations. Like you can't do it. You come from me. I can't do it. You can't do it.
Let's summarize this real quick, because you said ex-wife, and when people watch my podcast, they know I'm talking about relationships, and some people may have experienced it or may not have experienced it.
Right.
So, what happened? Why did this amazing woman become your ex?
Well, you assume she was an amazing woman.
Well, here's the thing, man.
I'm not saying she wasn't.
No, but
we just not gonna put that kind of sauce on it.
I'm gonna put that sauce on it, that value sauce, because I'm sure when you guys met, and I talk about this to couple, when you guys met, maybe something attracted you to her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whether it was physical, whether it was mental, whatever the case may be. And then time progressed, and it was amazing. Am I right or wrong? It was hell from the beginning.
It was not hell from the beginning.
It was a hell from the day you got a number, or she got your number?
It was not hell from the beginning. It was good enough.
So you picked somebody that was good enough?
Unfortunately, I'm not.
What kind of space were you in?
I was not in a great space. My mother had died 2 years earlier. So no woman was good enough, was really good enough. So for her to show up and be good enough.
Okay, so let me just.
Good enough.
So you meet somebody. Now, did you want to be with her, or did you just wanted to be with the woman?
Well, my preference is going to always be to be with a woman. So yeah, that was. I did want to be with a woman.
Or let me just say, you just wanted to be with somebody. Preferably, a woman.
I was genuinely missing an element of family in my life.
Okay.
I moved here, and now it'll be 20 years ago. At the time, that was 2010 when I met her.
How old were you?
When I met her, 2010, it's 21, 11 years, 33.
Okay.
So yeah, it was definitely a matter of circumstance. She's a good person.
Thank you.
She is. She's a good person.
Because I met her.
She's a good person. She's not good for me.
I'm trying to get back to the part of did she it had to be something amazing for you to marry her though. Or did you marry just out of what? Oh, okay. Were you dealing with something traumatic? You say, you know what? Let me marry this woman.
Like I said, my mother passed away. That feminine energy was missing from my life. My mother was helping me raise my son.
Okay. So,
in essence, his mother passed away too, even though his mother's still alive and well and doing whatever she's doing wherever she is. So this woman was a beacon of stability. As I mentioned, she had all these degrees, all this. Her resume was impeccable. So maybe that's the amazing thing you're looking for. Her resume was impeccable. We got along. Our friendship was probably where it should have stayed. And then.
So you get married.
Yeah.
You have a child with her. Mm-hmm. You guys are married how long?
From 2011 to 2018.
2011, 2018. 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When did the amazingness stop? I know that's not a word, but I'm making my words up today on the Value Podcast. Amazingness.
2014.
2014.
Mm-hmm.
What was, because people that are watching this or listening, you know, they probably like, I wonder what happened. So at 2014, what was the shift?
I gotta tell you, because we started her mental health practice, and at the point that I got involved, I set up all of the organizational stuff and got her on the insurance panels and all that stuff to be able to get paid, set up her office, her practices and that kind of stuff. But then we took that and started to counsel couples, which was a real, like, looking back on, I'm like, it was eye-opening because it allowed me to see into my own relationship. Sitting there with her, listening to other people's problems, like, wow, as bad as that sounds coming from you, I just experienced that last week. What am I doing? So it was Yeah.
I mean, at that point when
it
you
was
guys were
eye-opening.
doing that counseling, did you have a counselor or a tutor or a mentor? Anybody over you?
I've always had a mentor, a few. As far as counseling, her specialty was grief counseling. So maybe that's another part of what drew us together, because when I was dealing with the grief of my mother and I met her, and then we ended up talking and having these deep conversations, and it's like, boom, oh, you're my hero. Maybe that's the other amazing thing. I don't know. But
So I mean, would you be able to say, looking back now, that she almost became like your coping mechanism
yeah.
to some extent? Like,
Yeah.
of course, if she's a grief counselor, you're like, oh, I can probably pour all my grief right
And
into
she
this.
and her talent is in the ability to take off one hat and put on the other one, and it be completely transcendent. Like, the person, like the girlfriend is gone, now she's the counselor, and it's like, really, okay, so tell me about your problem. Okay, what? Oh, really? And I could say something crazy that impacted the girlfriend, and she wouldn't respond in that moment. Like, yeah, she got this funny odor. I'm not true, but I'm give some. My girl got this funny odor. Oh, really? Okay. Well, maybe you should talk to her about feminine hygiene products. So, and she would just roll with it, and you'd be like,
yeah.
I can say anything to her.
Did you ever find yourself where you were like, you know what, I need my girlfriend, my wife, not the counselor?
Mm-hmm. All the time.
So in those moments, was that having you, I guess, become more resistant to the relationship? Because I mean, that probably wouldn't. Of course, when you were attracted that she had this grief counseling skill set. Mm-hmm. But then after a while, it became something that had you like, you know what, I want to talk to my girlfriend,
yes,
to my fiance, to my wife.
Yes. Yes.
What do you think you could have done better in those moments?
Not gotten married.
I got married
to that person.
But you did. But you did.
I did. But
yeah.
you
if you did it all over
we
again.
are speaking in hindsight. And if I have this same information,
if you did it all over again,
if I had this information that I have now.
No, you don't have this information.
But see, that's
okay, you have this information.
If I have this information, I'm not doing it over again.
Okay.
Like, if older me went back to younger me and was like, don't do it, I'd be like, bet. I won't. Well, I'm going to listen to myself.
At that point of time, before you met her, because you were grieving.
I was.
Did you have anybody in your life, like another man, not like a dad or nothing like? Well, did you have a dad?
I have an amazing father and stepfather.
So
both of them were dope.
Were they there to console you at that point?
In that time, I can honestly say my mother passing was the first time my stepfather completely was useless to me. Like that, in my whole life, and they were together since I was 6 years old. That was the first time he was ever just like what is your purpose on this earth? Like, I'm asking those kind of questions, like, why are you here? Circumstances around the way that she passed, I was like, oh yeah, you could have done that better. But because of my understanding of the covenant of marriage, I was like, that's not my place to get involved in that. Like, you're her husband. It's your job to protect her and care for her and do all those things. Would I have done it the way you did it? No. But now I just have to harbor my personal feelings until we have a conversation, and we later did. But at the time, when he was like, we're just going to pull the plug because she don't want to be a vegetable. What? Like, there's some common sense questions we need to be asking before we do that. And he didn't ask those questions because I'm not a doctor. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why you ask the questions of the doctor who does know, so we can get some clear understanding before we make this decision that is literally life and death. He didn't choose to do that. And and the reason why that stuck with me so bad is because he's been a federal judge for 15 years. So your judgment is your livelihood, and you made a bad judgment call.
So the marriage is not going that great. Who decides to call it quits?
In the end, me.
In the end, you. Okay, why? Is it because of everything we were saying? Okay, here's the thing. Here's what we're gonna do. Let's just
See, I'm known in these streets, Jamel.
Okay, let's just do this.
So I'm not really trying to put all of that out there because,
no. And here's the thing: on the Value Podcast, there's sometimes people can be very transparent, but let's digress for a second. I don't want to, because I'm not here to like.
Because I was about to, and I was like, wait a minute.
No, I'm not here to condemn anybody.
Should I? Because we don't know who's watching this.
I'm not here to condemn anybody. So let's just say this: after the marriage, and you transition out of the marriage, how was it? You know, are you guys still friends? You had a child together. How was the transition? Was it easy? You know, because some people, you know, it's like I just had to call it quits. But was it?
I would not say that we're still friends. Okay. I think that's my biggest regret of even doing it.
Why? Because on the Value Podcast, before you leave here, you guys are going to be friends.
No, we're not.
You're going to call her.
No,
yes,
I'm
you
not.
are.
I'm not.
You're going.
I'm
asking you.
I'm respectfully declining
your request. Are you dealing with
request.
unforgiveness?
No, it's not unforgiveness.
Then why can't you call her?
I can forgive and forget.
Why can't you?
And that is what I'm doing.
I'm not saying.
Right
okay,
now.
here's the thing. You guys don't have to be buddies, old pal.
And we're not.
But you said,
and that's probably more her choice than mine.
So you truly? Oh, she doesn't want to be your friend.
No.
Why?
Because she doesn't.
There's a reason.
Well, there's always a reason.
Well,
but
give
again,
me one.
I'd have to get into the thing that I
get
don't
one?
want to put on the podcast in order.
Can
to
I
give
get
you
one
the
reason? Just like a summarized reason, like one reason of why she wouldn't want to be your friend. By the way, that's a nice sweater.
Thank you. On personal, on when it comes to personal matters between she and I, we don't see eye to eye.
But you guys are both wise.
She's very wise. We don't, but she is also chronically petty.
Okay. Let's say this right now, you know, because everybody has their broken areas, right? What do you believe is one area that you're broken in? Like, she's chronically petty. What's yours?
I too am chronically petty.
Okay, so it's a bad mixture.
Like she's. So I don't know if you really get.
You're gonna have
to
call her today.
I'm not gonna call her.
Or tomorrow.
No, it's okay.
Sometime before the end of the year.
I talk to her periodically, but it's not about anything but our daughter.
I mean, yeah.
That's really all I have to talk to her about.
And y'all both forgave each other?
That goes fine. I don't know what she's done.
You forgave her, like told her?
No. I have forgiven her, but no, I have not told her.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about it doesn't bear any relevance in the way we interact. So it's like
we'll talk about it after this.
Yeah. Because that's. I mean, I mentioned a minute ago that I'm chronically petty. I will tell it, but I don't know that will play out well later.
No, you don't got to tell it all on here.
Like as I think about it, I'm like,
Well, so here's the thing. After the transition, we're leaving the marriage. The marriage is where it is. You know what I mean? You guys are, you know what I mean? You're going to become friends with her one day.
I hope so.
Yeah, I believe so.
But I'm not. I'll wait.
Okay. I just said the sentence, and it seems like it keeps triggering something in you. So I'm just
I'll wait.
Okay, we transition out of the marriage. Now you're back out here. You're single. Right. Why you say it like that?
I do single real well.
But you're not single now.
No, not right now.
Okay, so how was it?
But I do single real well.
How was it leaving that, and then you're back out here being single, and you meet somebody else? Does any of that, not just the marriage, but even prior to the marriage, does any of the old Terrence come into the new relationship?
I honestly think that the old Terrence died with my mother.
But what about the parts that were in the marriage?
Oh, that was a husk. I had to fill that up in order to get to where I am now. Like the old Terrence wasn't even, I can't even say the old Terrence was there during the marriage, which is, if you asked me earlier, what was my contribution to the demise of our marriage? That was part of it. Like I'm here, but.
So you had like a nonchalant attitude.
Yeah. Because again, I go back, when my mother passed and we didn't have the best relationship, there were some things that I felt like she could have done differently as a mother to build confidence in me in the relationship that we had. I had trust issues with her. So ultimately, if I can't trust my mama, why would I trust you?
So,
like it was a mess.
do you believe you overcame those trust issues?
Most of them.
So in a new relationship,
I still side eye. My side eye is mean. Like,
you still have some trust issues in a new relationship.
I have trust issues, period, across the board.
And you believe that birthplace was during mama?
Oh, I know it was. I know it was. See, my mother took custody of my son. And I said she was helping me raise him. When I was 19, my judge stepfather and my civil attorney brother-in-law drew up a custody agreement that allowed for 3-way custody between me, his mother, and my parents, with guardianship going to my parents because they had military benefits and all these things that they could pass on to my son if they were the guardian. But the custody was 3-way joint custody. So the way the agreement was set up, 2 parties had to agree in all things concerning the child. Mm-hmm. Majority rule. At the time, I saw it being a product of a divorced home, seeing my mother and father go back and forth like they was, all the time. I was like, oh, I'm about to be the first dude to avoid baby mama drama. Like, just shut it down. Like, it's gonna be dope. Mm-hmm. And I signed it. I'm like, you need to sign this. You need to sign this. I'm not going to have to deal with your child support. I'm not going to have to deal with you dragging me in and out of court. I'm not going to have to deal with you telling me I can't see my kid. I'm not going to have to do none of that stuff that all men and throughout time have had to deal with y'all. You need to sign this. And she's like, okay, well, you'll have insurance and all the good things. But I'm thinking about all the things that benefit me at 19. And so she signs it. And in the beginning, she's like, well, I want to take him to my boyfriend's house. I was like, no, they smoke over there. Ma, they smoke over there. She can't take him over there. Yeah, you can't take him over there. Sorry. She's like, well, I want to move to such and such. Nah, we're not. You can't take him when you move to such and such. Nah. Mom, I'm thinking about moving to Atlanta. I want to take TJ with me. I'm gonna go down, get set up, blah blah blah. And my mom's like, yeah, get set up, do it. Don't worry about it. We got it. We good. He's gonna go with you. Okay, cool. I go down for 2 months. I come back. I'm like, yo, I got this nice house. I got three bedrooms. Garage. We going in the best school district I could find at the time. What's up? Me and his mother have been talking. And we've decided that maybe the best place for him to stay is where he is. You and who? Me and his mother. We decided. We discussed it. But right now he's living with you. Yeah, that's where we're gonna keep him. Word? Yeah. So the time went on. I'm back and forth every 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, you sure you want to do this? This is crazy. Yeah, I think this is for the best. A year goes by. I get in a conversation with her about, you raised me to be a father. You raised me to be a good man. I'm trying to be responsible. I'm trying to take care of my kid. What's up? He's okay where he is though. My stepfather literally just jumps in my face and says, you gonna stop asking about it, and if you don't like it, sue me. Take me to court. What I look like taking my mother and my father to court. So now I'm in this rock and this hard place. Like, how do I do that? Like, my actual father's like, take their ass to court then. Wait. You already got beef with my mother because now you're reliving the drama you dealt with her through me.
Did your dad have trust issues?
Which is backwards. No, I think he's the other part of my trust issue. I think he caused the other part. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. But so it was interesting, man. It was like you basically set me up to take my kid.
Wow.
So no, at that point I was like, I went 3 years while she was alive, not trusting people, and then I was like, when she died, it was like my trust issues did not die with her; they got worse. Because it's like, dang, I couldn't trust my mother.
So my thing,
I'm
though,
certainly not about to trust you, lady. Like, what are you talking about?
Hold on. You're engaged.
No.
No, you're not engaged.
I'm just in a committed relationship.
Okay. I'm not even going to go down that
I'm not engaged.
Okay. How are the trust issues impacting the relationship currently? Because they have to, man. If you're in a relationship and you got trust issues, it's going to do something.
I mean, most of my trust issues are dealt with internally.
See? That's the thing we need to talk about, because that's an internal battle taking place.
It's not a battle. I'm really good
All right,
at
let's not call it a
compartmentalizing and saying, okay.
But that's not healthy.
No, because the shift is this. I shifted to a place where I don't necessarily have expectations of people. This was my way of dealing with my trust issue.
No, but okay, let me let you explain.
This is my way of dealing with. I enter into each encounter with no expectations. The only expectations I have are the ones you've shown me I should have. So at that point, you don't have to earn my trust. I'm just going to freely give it. But I'm not disappointed when you break it, because I know that that's what people do. So I walk in a room and freely trust
Trust does have to be earned.
No, it doesn't.
Yes.
Who are you to tell me I should earn your? Who am I to tell somebody you got to earn my trust?
No,
like, who am I?
If you're a stranger and I just met you, I'm not just giving you my trust.
No. There's levels to everything.
Right.
But at the same time, you haven't done anything to me because you're a stranger.
Okay.
I have no reason to not trust you.
But you don't.
But I have no reason to not trust you.
But you just said you don't trust nobody.
No. I trust people to do what I know that they're going to do.
See, that's trust. Listen,
not.
Man.
It's
okay.
Not.
Listen.
And I'm not disappointed when I used to. Part of my issue with trust was I would give somebody some faith. I put some trust in somebody. They disappoint me, and now I'm like, yet again.
Have I disappointed you?
What?
Have I disappointed you?
I mean, not yet, but I haven't given you a chance to. You haven't given me. There's no.
I'm gonna prove him wrong.
No, and that's my point.
No, okay. So
most people won't disappoint you if you don't walk around with expectations that are higher than they should be.
Here's the thing. Everybody's flawed and broken in some capacity. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to the relationship though. So you don't trust the woman you're with because you know that she's capable of doing whatever.
She's not giving me a reason to distrust her yet. And so
but in your mind,
so that being said, until she does.
But in your mind, you were saying that you already know that something will happen. That's why I'm not going to trust you.
But that's why I'm not going to have expectations of anybody.
So you have nothing that is there anything that you want from her? I mean, is it like you could say like I want her to be a God-fearing woman. I want her to be whatever the case may be. That's still some sort of an expectation.
For instance, I want a Mercedes AMG GT convertible, right? But to walk around expecting it to be around the corner when I go outside, I'm gonna be disappointed when I get outside.
But that's different from a relationship.
It's only different from a relationship because we tie emotions and feelings all into it. And I'm looking at the structure of it. If I expect, for instance, if I expect somebody to stay home, like my girl, if I say, you know what, I expect her to be in the house, not go nowhere, just stay at the house, and she decides she wants to go out with her friends, I'm gonna be disappointed. And I use something that simple on purpose because it's really, I'm gonna be disappointed and I'm gonna feel like, wow, she just, like my expectations weren't met. I can't trust you. That's not true. My expectations were unrealistic.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big.
So I think that it's easier to trust everybody when you walk around with limited expectations.
Okay, let's say this then. I understand what you're saying.
I had to overcompensate because I had really bad trust issues.
Thank you.
No, I did. I had to overcompensate though.
So
I'm aware of that.
Okay, on a level of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Where's your trust issue at right now?
Right now, about a 5.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good. That's good.
about a 5. And I might be high, honestly, because like I said,
Have you and her had a conversation about this?
yes,
Because you said you internally go through this. Have you communicated this to her?
yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I have a friend. Let's do it that way. I have a friend that I've witnessed lie to everybody,
Okay.
but they swear up and down they would never lie to me. If I allowed that expectation to govern the relationship,
Now, in that example, I totally agree.
if I allowed that expectation to govern the relationship, then I'm gonna be really disappointed because they're a pathological liar, and I know it already. So honestly, if I had to put an expectation, I'm expecting you to lie to me.
Do you believe that?
Like when you don't, I'm gonna be like, oh.
Do you believe that level of trust that you have in your relationship impacts the amount of love that you distribute?
No,
It doesn't.
no.
Well, here's the thing. For you to say no to that, that shows how mature you are, because there's some people that may have that and it can impact the level of love that they distribute.
So for me, love isn't conditional. Like is.
Okay.
Engagement is conditional.
I talked about that. You can love somebody but not like them.
Yeah, that's a fact. I loved my mother. I didn't like her very much. There were periods in our relationship where I didn't like her at all because of what she was doing to me. But I couldn't help but love her, which is why I didn't take her to court and do all the other stuff. I was like, what do I do? I'm between a rock and a hard place. Whereas I have friends who I've known for decades that I love them like family. But I don't always like some of the stuff they do, and I'm not gonna fool with you. Like my limits come in, like, oh, I'm not doing that. But you love me though. I do. I love you unconditionally, which is why I still love you, even though I hate what you just did. I'm like, I don't think it's as black and white,
Right.
as society and time has made it. Like you always hear people talk about unconditional love, unconditional love. Yeah, the love's supposed to be unconditional.
Yeah.
But that don't mean I'm gonna keep doing what you're doing. I'm not gonna keep letting you hurt me.
I asked this question when I was in the mall. I'm gonna ask you, and for people that's listening or watching, they can answer this question too. Do you believe that you can stay with somebody that you love but you don't like them?
Mm-hmm.
You believe so?
I've done it. I've done it.
No, but I'm saying,
I did it.
Don't you believe that? Okay, look, I don't like you. I love you,
Right.
but at some point, me not liking you is going to impact the love that I have for you.
Does it impact if the love was real? No.
You don't agree?
If the love was real,
What do y'all say? I want to y'all drop a comment. What do y'all say?
no, real talk. If the love was real,
I'm talking to somebody that got trust issues. I don't believe this guy, man. I'm just messing with you. Go ahead, though. If the love is real.
If the love was real, then the love is real, and you can't expect it to go away.
No, the love doesn't go away.
You can't. I mean, do you really expect it to change? You know, the way you interact. So
Hold on. Let me paint the picture a little better. You don't like this person, and then the things that you don't like about them start to escalate. You're not even trying to fix them.
right.
I'm not saying you're gonna stop loving them,
Right.
but can you continue to be with them?
No.
That's what I was asking.
No, but what I'm saying is, you asked if the love goes away.
No. I
If
said
the love changes, the love doesn't necessarily change.
I said if you don't like the person, can you stay with them?
I have been with a person that I grew to not like, and I still cared very deeply for them, and I was there for a year and a half after the point that I decided I didn't like them anymore.
And so you left.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So let's do this. I'm gonna digress. All of this stuff we're talking about, how does it impact, what should I say, your level of success now and your purpose and your drive for what you do for a living? Like the counseling and the coaching and the, whether it's mentoring or whether it's facilitating, pouring advice into others.
I think that from that standpoint, from the coaching standpoint, I think that what's happened is I had a shift in my mindset that encouraged me to focus on shifting mindset, shifting awareness. So again, I think, you know, in addiction counseling, they have the serenity prayer.
Yeah.
As human beings, we focus on the things we can't control or the things we can't change way too much. Way too much. Like, I can't control the actions of another person. That's called kidnapping and false imprisonment. I can't do that. Mm-hmm. I can try my best to influence a person. I can beg, plead, and ask for what I want. But that's where I come to the point where I say my expectations have to be more realistic. Because I can ask, that don't mean they're going to give it to me. But if I walk around with the expectation, well, you said you love me, so you're supposed to give it to me. Now I can't trust you. You see what I mean by, it's like my trust issues were based on unrealistic expectations. I feel like all of them. And I'll go back to my mother because that's the root of it. I said, because you're my mother, you're not supposed to do me this way, but you're still a woman and you're still human. Yeah. So why wouldn't you?
Yeah. People are still human. There's going to be,
So that probably fixed 60% of my trust issues in that thought process. Like, oh, okay. So I can't be mad at you. I got to be mad at me for having high expectations of you. Let me deal with me, which is why my conversations are internal. Because I got to deal with me. Only thing I control on this earth is me. You can't even control your kids these days. They're going to do what they want to do eventually. So all I can focus on is controlling me. And when I looked at the situation and I said, wow, I dropped the ball there. I thought because she's my mother, she wouldn't lie to me. She wouldn't be manipulative. She wouldn't do these things. That's an unrealistic expectation. She's still human. And I remind her of my father. So if she could do any of those things that she did to me, if she could do any of them to my father, and I watched her do them my whole life growing up, she could easily do them to me.
And you know what? Here's the thing. In this whole entire conversation, I like the way you just summed that up. You know what I mean? Like this high expectation. Because at the same time, we got to think about your mother's upbringing and your father's upbringing, and then their father's upbringing,
which I wasn't privy to.
You know, and that can get real deep and intense because who knows the issues or the drama and trauma they were dealing with.
That's right.
And they're just trying their best to raise Terrence.
That's right.
With the material and the tools that they got. And then Terrence is trying his best to live out his dreams and his purpose.
That's correct.
You know?
I mean, I give you a more recent example. My father was my superhero most of my life. I found out in 2019 I might have a brother out here walking the earth. Grown ass man.
All right, that's a whole nother podcast right there.
No, wait. When we talk about trust issues, that's why I bring it up, because
wow,
when I found that out, and then I've started to have conversations with the guy, and then he's the spitting image of my son. Like they look like they could be brothers, damn near twin brothers. I'm like, wow. So Dad, what's up with this situation? Oh no, that didn't happen. And then we later have a conversation because of COVID and all that. I hadn't had a chance to talk to him. Some other things transpired. He comes back and says, well, you know, she never wanted to take a DNA test and this and that. I'm like, okay, but the first thing you said to me out your mouth was, that did not happen. So the first response was a lie. Word from you? Now, I handled it a little better because I had dealt with my mother and I had processed all that information about humanity and how you're still a person. So now it was more of a quick reality check. He is still a person. And you did tell me a few years ago that you might be out somewhere and I might, ain't no telling who I might meet that might be his kid, because he was out there when he was younger. It's like, I might have some kids out there. Oh, wow. So that made me say, well, why not just say, it's complicated, you know, let's talk about it when we can sit down face to face, whatever. But your first response was, nah, that not me. Couldn't be me. I don't know what you're talking about. I only know that girl. You don't know the girl, but she used to work for you. I actually know who she is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like, it was a lot. It was a lot. So for me to say that, And to realize that my parents are fallible in that way. And like I said, they were my superheroes. To go into any other relationship with those unrealistic expectations, I'll never lie to you, I'll never cheat on you, I'll never do this. I'm your person, I live for you. You setting yourself up to be real upset. Just are. Because they're still human.
Terrence. Everybody that comes on my podcast, I ask them 3 questions at the end, right? No, not 3 questions. I give them 3 words. So I have 3 words. You know what's crazy? Yo, this is crazy because I put these words in my phone last night. And the first word, kid you no lie, is trust. So let's not go with that word because you just broke it all down during our conversation. Let's do the second word. This is crazy, these 3 words that I chose last night in my phone. The second one is suffer. What does that word mean to you? And then can you use it in a sentence? The word suffer.
Suffer equates to growth. And it's because it's the old adage, that which does not kill you can only make you stronger. And anything that almost killed you, you likely suffered through. I've suffered emotionally through in relationships where my perspective ultimately had to change in order for me to survive it. That's that growth I'm talking about. If you walk around continuously being the same person, doing the same things, expecting different outcomes, what is that? Insanity. So it's just a matter of really of taking that suffering and turning it into something soulful, something powerful that you can feed yourself with, as opposed to being beaten down by it and dragged out of it. I told my son the other day, called me because he's dealing with some job situations. He's a little frustrated, and I said, he said, man, I just been depressed. It's hard. Money's tight. It's that and the third. And I was like, yeah. I said, you probably just need to take some time out and relax and have a good time. He said, what's there to have a good time about? I was like, well, as long as you sit around worrying about stressing over your situation, you're never going to come out of it. It's not. You'll be too focused on what's wrong and how you feel about it and your feelings and being beat down to even think clearly enough to say, oh, this is how I can fix it. And so he took that advice. We sat, talked for 45 minutes. We ate some food and kicked it. And then he was like, Dad, I feel better. I was like, yeah, no. Go to sleep. When you wake up in the morning, think about your situation again and maybe have a fresh perspective. But he's suffering right now and he needs to grow from it.
Wow. Next word. These are words literally I put in here last night. Forgive.
I forgive everybody. I do. I'm very forgiving. I do not typically forget because that's part of my growth process. Whatever side of it that I was on, I'm not the guy throwing it back in somebody's face like, well, remember last time you did it. But I'm certainly in my own head saying, remember last time he did this? Like maybe this is not the path you should take with this particular person. That would be dumb. You suffered last time because you trusted them. Now you have to grow. You can forgive them because they're human. It is what it is. I forgave my mother. I did. Like 4 months before she died, we had a long conversation. I completely forgave her. But the lessons and the experiences were big. They weigh real heavy because it blew my mind that she could be the person to do that stuff to me. But again, if you could do that to me, then anybody could do it to me. Anybody.
Yeah.
So to walk around listening to people, believing them when they say, oh, I'm forever, my whole heart. Yeah, okay. I mean, that's sweet. Sounds nice. And I'll roll with it. I like the emotion. I do. But I'm gonna be forgiving you real soon because you gonna mess around and do something. You can't help it.
This has been a very sobering podcast. Trust, suffer, forgive. Terrence, for the people that are listening and those that are watching, okay, maybe somebody's been in your shoes, they're in your shoes. I just want to say this too, because you're a coach, you're a counselor, you're a facilitator. I'm just using those words. People gotta understand that coaches, counselors, and facilitators, we get counseled too. You know what I mean? They think that you have these flaws, and it's like, oh my God, how dare he be a counselor? I mean, you're not a. It's a whole nother topic.
I mean, it's funny you say that, because the one thing that I don't frequently put on my resume when people are talking is the fact that I'm an ordained minister too. And the reason for that is because I am so flawed that I don't want the judgment. There are things that I like to do that, according to society and religion, I'm not supposed to do.
Well, you know what? Here's the deal with that.
Guess what? I'm going to do it.
They're gonna, the thing about that's a whole other thing. But either way, people gonna have something to say. Either way, you could go out here and save Africa and put a whole new pipe system in another country that didn't have water, and they're gonna be like, "Well, why didn't you put the pipe system in this country?"
In Flint.
Yeah, but anyway,
Flint
so
needed water.
For somebody that's listening, somebody that's watching, like I said, maybe they're in your shoes or they've been in your shoes and they're transitioning. What would you tell that woman, that man, that young boy, that young girl? What kind of advice would you leave them with?
Well, first, let's lead with a little bit of humor. If you're in my shoes or you're in a situation similar to the one I'm in, I'm sorry. That was,
no, I mean,
excuse my language, but it was fucked up. It was bad. A lot of it was really bad. But it gets better. I can honestly say, with no hesitation, no doubt in my thought process, that 110% of the things I've been through that were bad, I came out of them on the other side better. So as bad as it may seem today, you'll be fine tomorrow, or maybe not tomorrow, but figuratively tomorrow. Just stay about your wits. Realize that the people in your lives, they're human. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to do things that maybe you don't like. And that doesn't mean that they're bad people. In some cases, it doesn't mean they're bad people. They just may be bad for you. And that's okay too. Every person isn't for everybody. Aside from that, just keep your head up. That's really what it is. Stay positive. Stay focused on what it is you're trying to do.
Nice. Now, where can we find you at? Let the people know.
Pretty much everywhere at I Am Terrence Brown. Facebook, Twitter, I think it's I'm Terrence Brown. Instagram is I Am Terrence Brown.
All right. And when he says that you can find him everywhere, he literally means that you can find him everywhere. He might be in the back blocks of Mexico at that little diner that you're going to. He might be somewhere in North Dakota. When you come out that bar, he's probably just left the place. No, I'm just playing.
You're not wrong.
But yo, Terrence,
there's truth in every joke, people. If somebody's picking on you, they probably
but
telling the truth
everywhere.
somewhere.
He is everywhere. I've seen him some places where I'm like, "What's up? What's going on?" Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But man, I really appreciate you coming on, man. You're valuable.
It's my pleasure.
Real talk, man.
It's my pleasure.